And good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, on behalf of GE Gasification and my colleagues Vijay, Prashant, and Shalai in the back, I appreciate for this opportunity for GE to be here to share our humble thoughts and our observations of coal gasification technology in the whole world and probably China. So in the next like 10 minutes, I will give you guys a quick introduction of GE gasification technology and our progression in the coal to chemical industry and some trends we observe from the world. Gasification technology should serve as an effective tool to capitalize your most abundant and easily accessible resources. GE gasification technology has devoted itself to that, started from like back in the 70s. So our technology has been through the pilot project stage and went through a lot of demo projects for different kinds of applications, and it also now is at the most reliable commercial project status now. So the technology itself is proven successful and profitable by many of our licensees. So quickly go through what GE gasification technology is about. Its simple design makes it very reliable and durable, and because of its high reaction temperature, so it's a very clean gasification technologies. We don't have those nasty wastewaters you have to spend a lot of money on. So it's literally one of the most cleanest gasification technology. With all those factors I just mentioned, it also makes it a technology that brings you quick returns. So you can take a look at the bottom charts. We are talking about the availability and the reliability of our plants. It has everything to do with your plant economy, and I will have one more slide to talk about that in later sessions. So this is a very cost-effective solution for versatile applications. It depends on where we are. So in the world, we are kind of a leader in terms of the gasification presence. We have our first coal gasification plant back in the 70s, and first PetroCoal gasification back in the 80s. And now we are very proudly to announce that in the world's biggest IGCC plant, it's GE solution at the Duke, Indianapolis, United States. So around the world, at the moment we're speaking, we have 88 licensed plants and 193 gasifiers up and running smoothly. So when we are talking about the gasification technology, it is very difficult for us to ignore China, because China is now the biggest market for coal gasification. Oh, by the way, I'm from Taiwan. So it's slightly different, but I'm be more than happy to share with you what's happening in China now. So it's very difficult to ignore the achievements China has delivered in the past maybe 5 or 10 years. So as you can see now, in China, at the moment, we have 59 licenses going on, and we have 198 gasifiers. 2/3 of them are already up and running, and 1/3 of them are still in construction stage. So in China, we are one of the earliest gasification technology licensor, and we have the most versatile application references there. So these are the very, very solid tools and references we have, as maybe India is going to that direction. And last year, 2014, is quite bumpy for gasification technology licensors because of the dropping crude oil price. So everything in China, all the coal to chemical projects kind of slow down and moving very, very slowly. However, for GE gasification, it's still another tremendous year of ours because we have another 6 mega projects started up. For example, we have a 1.8 million tons of coal to methanol and another 600,000 tons of methanol to olefin projects started up last year. We also have 2 new coal to hydrogen plants started up last year. So if you take a look at our references, you will find that there are 8 mega coal-to-olefin projects going on in China, and GE has done 6 of them. And last year, we also have a new world record of the availability. One of our licensees is called Sinopec Qilu. It made 538 days of continuous operations in the industry. That record has never been set, has never been heard of in the whole industry. That's why I'm saying 2014, yes, it's slow, but it's still another tremendous year for GE gasification. So let me take you to what's happening in China now. So let me give you some quick review on history and the future trends of where you might go in the next few minutes. Okay, so the question for China, maybe everyone will ask, why coal gasification? These are the reasons why Chinese government is spending a lot of money, a lot of resources on the coal gasification. It's because domestically, there's a huge demand gap for valuable chemicals, for example, like a PP and PE, and because 94% of its domestic energy is composed by coal, and the rest 6% is composed by the plentiful crude oil production and the syngas. So they have to find a way to kind of utilize their most abundant and easily accessible resources, that's coal. And also, let's not forget about the China government as its unique political entity. At the moment we're speaking, around 58 to 60% of its crude oil is importing from different countries. For a country of such political entity, they cannot tolerate that most of its energy is depending on some other countries. So it's an issue of national security. And last but not least, is the synergy between petrochemical and coal chemical. The Chinese government simply divided the country into two sections. The coastal area focusing on the petrochemical because it's easy for them to import crude oil and to do the refinery and all the processing. But for the northwestern areas where the water is scarce, but there's a lot of coal, they would like to do the coal chemical. So they would like to increase or create a synergy between between petrochemical and the coal chemical. So let's take a look at its path. Like Chinese government has actually done what we call the traditional coal chemical back in 2005. And in my word, it was a total failure, if not epic failure, because of the lack of government management and governance. They have so many small, inefficient, not competitive at all plants set up, so they have a lot of idle utilization capacity. It was a total failure until 2010. We helped Shenhua Baotou to set up the very first coal-to-olefin plant in China. That was 1.8 million ton production. And ever since that, the Chinese government was also searching for ways to navigate through the jungle of coal chemical. First, they mandate the scale. It has to be above certain scale so you can get a project approval. For example, like the methanol production, it has to be more than, annual production has to be more than 1 million ton per year. You will not see those, for example, like a fertilizer plants, it's like 100,000 tons per year production. You don't see those projects get approved. And the next step is focusing on efficiency improvement. By saying efficiency, I'm going to show you in the next page is how the efficiency has progressing in the last couple of years. That's a fast improvement. And so as we are speaking, the Chinese government is mandating the specific efficiency for different kinds of coal-to-chemical applications. And down the road, it's very clear that the Chinese government is thinking about to utilize one of its most abundant reserves. That's what we call the low-rank coal. It's high moisture, high ash, but not as high as Indian coals. So this is the progression of the progression we are seeing in China. And in terms of the production, or what we call applications, it's narrowed down a little bit. Back to back to 2010, there are so many different kinds of applications. Coal to liquid, coal to EG. There's so many of them, at least half a dozen of them. But now we can see it's very clear that it's going to be only 3 products. It's coal to liquid, it's coal to synthetic natural gas, and the coal to olefin. It has everything to do with its domestic situation, domestic demands. It will be a different story here in India. So you can see as we are progressing, for example, after the Shenhua Baotou, the new plant is what we call Pucheng. Simply by using a high pressure gasification technology, we were able to improve the efficiency by 3%, from 38% to 41%. And as we can see, maybe we can call it a next generation gasification plant is by using what we call radiant sink gas cooler. There's another 3 points in the efficiency improvement. This is what China has been through in the past 5 years. This is something difficult to achieve. And what are the trends we observe from those 5-year progression? So I'm showing you a few thoughts, a few trends we observe. The first one is it's bigger than bigger. I'm not talking about the iPhones you're using. I'm talking about the project size and the equipment size. In the past, 10 years ago, when the very first coal to fertilizer plants in China, it was around only 100,000 tons per year production. And now we are seeing like a 1.8 million tons of methanol plants. So you can see in terms of the plant size, it's increasing like 10 times more. In terms of equipment size, like back in the 70s, we were looking at a 285 cubic feet gasifiers, and now we are launching 1,800 cubic feet gasifiers in China. You can see the size is totally different. It's totally different story. And what it brings to the market is more competitive CapEx and the unit cost for your final products. The bigger the fleet is, the cheaper it is. For example, like 1.8 million tons of methanol production. In the past, if we're using 900 cubic feet gasifiers, you have to use 5 operating gasifiers plus 2 spares. But now we only need 3 operating gasifiers plus 1 spare. So you save a lot of money. And in terms of the capacity of each gasifier itself, by adding like 20, no more than 30% of capex, you can enjoy double the production. So this is the very first trend we are seeing. We are looking at. It gets bigger. It's pursuing the economy of scale. And the second thing is the customers are pursuing high reliability and efficiency. Don't forget how much money you will have to spend on such scale projects. It's easily for any project owners to spend like 3 to 4 billion on each project. So if we divided the project progress by the startup date, before plant startup, you are carrying the capital cost. If your plan is delayed for any reason for just 1 month, you will have to spend at least 15 to 20 million more every month. After this plant startup, for any reason you shut down the plant for any unexpected reasons, expect at least 500,000 loss every single day. So with that, I'm sharing with you an example we just have last year. China Coal Yulin Phase 1 is one of the mega projects started up last year. Here is its timeline. The contract was signed back in 2011 in August. 4 months later, GE delivered the PDP, what we call the process design package. So the customers can use that package, PDP, to start construction. And 30 months later, the plant was completed. And by the end of April 2014, they started up the plant successfully at first attempt. A month later, the methanol was produced, and another month later, the final product, PP and PE, was produced. And like 3 months later, they announced commercial operation. The whole schedule looks nothing, but just let me give you some numbers to compare. We delivered the final product 1 month earlier than originally planned, and the plant achieved full 100% workload 4 months earlier than the China Coal plant. Every month, we are making around $70 million for this plan. Every day, every month we go above the schedule, we are making money for them. And the plan of this size, in the past, easily it takes at least 36 months to 40 months to complete. And in this case, we only took 30 months to complete. So it's a huge improvement. So our technology has very high reliability, and in terms of the efficiency, we will have to talk about a next generation gasification technology. We are calling it the radiant syngas cooler. It recycles the heat from the gasifiers, and we turn that into the saturated high pressure steam. It is capable of driving the downstream processes, for example, like ASUs or downstream applications processes. It can eliminate the boilers by at least 3/4 of the amount you need in the plant, and it also reduces the coal as fuel. So this is very, very important as we are marching into the era that everyone is talking about sustainability. Do good to your environment. This is very important, and this technology also makes your plant a self-sustainable plant. Okay, so the third trend we observe is about sustainability. As all of you know that China is very notorious, especially in northern part of China, in Beijing, about the fog, about the smog, about the haze. So in the APEC in 2014, the Chinese government and the US government, they have a joint announcement on the carbon emission reduction. There's a joint effort on the carbon reduction. So they have very specific targets on that, and this is where the iron fist gets into the conversation. The Chinese government is now prohibiting the new boilers started up in the coastal area. They are retiring or shutting down those small, outdated, or inefficient CFB power plants, boilers, applications. Chinese government is trying to do something. And one of the trends here we can also identify is that coal is no longer regarded as fuel. It is expected to become what we call feedstock, for example, for the gasification technology, instead of just a fuel to burn. In the process, you just create so many pollutants, and this is not going to help Chinese government to achieve the goal. So if we move the focus to India now, the key word here in India is high ash. Yes, high ash is gasifiable, but at what cost? That's my question. As my colleague Viju has just touched on, it doesn't make any sense to just simply throw the coal, high ash coal, into the gasifiers because you are wasting at least half of the energy on those ashes. So what can we do with it? A good example in China is that it is happening at the moment. I'm speaking with the fact. One of the plants in China is using what we call low-rank coal to make the synthetic natural gas. It spent 3.5, almost 4 billion on the plant itself, and now it's about to spend another $1 billion on the wastewater treatment system. And also, they are also spending tons of money to repair its gasifiers because of the feedstock, the coal, does not fit the gasifier, and the coal is eroding its gasifier. So this is a great example that you have to have a very thought out plan before you make any move in the coal gasification plants, and you have to select the proper technology before you do any decision. So sustainability is a very critical issue here in China in terms of the emission, in terms of the water consumption, and down the road, everything is taken seriously. So let me take a step further. Let's take a look at what India needs. And this is also my last presentation. India is a booming market. The majority of its GDP is still propelled by agriculture. And as a booming country, we need sustainable and reliable power supply. And we also need enough motor gasoline to support the urbanization and the and the development of the country. So we will be looking at the fertilizer, electricity, and hydrogen supply. It has to be affordable. It has to be reliable. And given the situation in India, we have abundant coal. We have abundant PetroCoal. There's a solution for us to offer. GE has done a lot of cases in the applications I just mentioned. The very first one is the fertilizer. We do more than one, sorry, it's actually 19. We've done 19 fertilizer projects starting from 1983, and we've done 4 coal-to-power plants in the past 20 years. And just like I proudly just announced that the 2 of the biggest IGCC plant in the world was done by GE. And in China, we are also doing another 2 what we call polygen projects in China. So we are very experienced in this. And also, we have 9 coal to hydrogen projects going on, and one of them just set up a world record of 538 days of continuous operations in the world. The message I would like to deliver here is that no matter what's the next step or next decision India is going to make, GE has a lot of experience, a lot of lessons learned from different parts of the world, from different markets, and we are ready to make contribution to the future development of India. So with that, I'm concluding my presentation, and hopefully we can have more conversations later. Thank you.